We will not copyright or trademark that. We do not have the rights to this at all. Please do not sue us. Thank you.
Welcome to These Unprecedented Gays, featuring Joe Granelli and Paul Smith. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review wherever you stream your podcasts. Check us out on Instagram at tugayspod and email us at tugayspod@yahoo.com. We hope you enjoy. Oh, there is a little countdown. Look at that.
We've never had a countdown. It's not by Beyonce. Have you seen the video of the guy doing the Snuggie version of that?
No.
Oh.
Is it cool?
Wait, maybe that's not Countdown.
Oh, maybe something
it's
else.
Ego.
Okay.
No, it's Countdown.
Is it?
5, and then she's got like all the different outfits.
Yes.
We are so close.
I know.
Do you feel like we're one?
I feel like I have to step back. So just for our listeners to know, we do have a guest on our show today. His name is Kyle Langen. Say hi, Kyle. I'm going to do my big introduction later, but after we get through the week in mouth to mouth.
Shit.
But we're sharing a mic right now, and it's weird because we're so close to each other's head.
I know, sharing is not caring.
I'm like, this is pre-COVID times.
I know. I don't think I've ever sat this close to you in my entire life, even though I used to sit next to you in chorus.
I know. So, how was your week? I saw that you are a public speaker now, girl.
I know. A Toastmaster.
Okay.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Well, so I'll get to that. So we had a holiday weekend. It was Memorial Day. And I took the Friday off, so I had a 4-day weekend, which I haven't had in a long time. And then my friends came down to visit. So my friends Rachel, her husband Tyler, and then my friend Bethany and her girlfriend Kelsey all flew down. Oh. And so they were originally going to land at 8 on Saturday, but their flight was delayed for 8 hours.
Oh,
yeah. And so it was part of the whole mass, there was a lot of delays or whatever. Yeah. But theirs was an originating flight, so they did everything right, but they didn't get here on time. So we were able to go around to Gaslamp. We went to what was it? Some place down there. It was what was the restaurant? It was the weirdest fusion because it was shrimp and grits, but tacos and also Asian. It was oh my god, something with a Cerrito.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. And so it was it was whatever, but I mean, I was fine with it. So the trip was nice to see everybody. And then I, Monday did nothing. And what else was it? So for Tuesday, Wednesday, I worked. And then, And then we did Pride stuff. So then June started. And now it's the 1st of June. Are we allowed to say that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the 1st of June. And
you can talk about dates.
As Paul said, I am a world-renowned speaker for my company, but not really world-renowned because whatever. But so last Thursday, I got a message at work, and it was from a woman who's at the other site by Torrey Pines. And she goes, hey, would you be interested in speaking at our Pride flag raising event? And I was like, what do I need to do? And she's like, well, we're trying to speak about inclusion and diversity. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I was like, I can rally my whole department and we'll all go and it'll be a fun time. And so today I was able to give a 4-minute speech or whatever about how I feel comfortable in the workplace and blah, 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 and included, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And so it was really nice though, because I felt actually supported, and I've never felt that before.
And
in
blah,
a corporate blah. And blah, blah, blah.
And blah, blah, blah.
Well, but I mean, I think you've talked about it where you have kind of a different voice at work. And this is the first time in my career that I've ever felt like I can be consistent in my personal life and at work. And it isn't weird. I don't feel hesitation, Yeah. So it was really nice. And so that was today. And then everyone was really happy and encouraging. I was like, oh my God, we're so happy for you. Gay. Hi, gay. I should have started out with that.
Yeah, you should have started off with that.
But I did quote Oprah. So
yeah, I saw that.
I couldn't, it was 4 minutes. I don't know how to upload it to Instagram, but
yeah,
I was
it's hard.
I don't know, do a reel?
No, I think you can't. Even then,
I can't do a movie?
I don't know.
Maybe it'll be streaming on Netflix.
Yeah.
So that was my week. How was your week?
It was okay. Yeah. Not a lot going on. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. That's it.
We had our son's 30th birthday.
Yeah, okay,
that was fun.
So how was that? Where'd you go?
It was okay. We went to Kettner.
Okay.
Yeah, they gave us a bunch of free food, so that was great.
Did you have what are the little desserts?
No, we didn't have budinos. We had buntinis because we brought those in.
Ooh, from anything but cakes.
Nothing but cakes.
Nothing
yeah,
I thought it was anything but.
No, it's nothing but.
Nothing but.
Get it? Nothing but cakes, but nothing but cakes.
I know, I get that,
it's
but
wordplay.
I thought it was anything but.
No,
it's nothing but cake.
Nothing but cakes.
But it's the phrase.
Tames. So we're gonna get right into like our what we love, what's giving us life. We're gonna go right into mouth to mouth resuscitation. All right, so what's giving you life?
I have 3 things.
3 things, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, so 2, whatever. So I watched a documentary series called 3 Mile Island, like the meltdown at 3 Mile Island.
Right.
And it was like 4 parts or whatever, and it's about this nuclear plant that almost blew up in Pennsylvania. Oh. And I was like, oh, this is actually really kind of cool because my mom grew up in Erie, and so I watched the first episode and I called her. I was like, where were you in 1979 when 3 Mile Island almost blew up? And she's like, I may think I was in high school. And I was like, oh, but you were. But so after I watched the first episode, I was like, I have no clue what nuclear power plants are. So then I went on YouTube and I became a nuclear physicist by watching videos on nuclear fission. So that was one thing. And then the second thing that's giving me life is putting peanut butter in vanilla ice cream. So it's the texture because like... So tell me, how do you do it? So you really want to try that? Is that what you're No? So it's just like nice because it like solidifies. It's so good. You don't like peanut butter?
Yeah, I like peanut butter and I like vanilla ice cream, but
not together.
Together it seems weird.
You need to try it.
Okay.
You need to try it.
Okay.
So then the third thing that's giving you life, there's a cookie store called Uncle Biff's in San Diego.
Right.
Have you been?
Because your friend works there. You've talked about this.
You're alluding to it. So yes, Alana does work there, but I haven't seen her ever since COVID started.
Oh.
And so I was like, I'm going to go and see if she's still working there. Because I was like, I think that she told me she was moving back to Philadelphia to like be with family or something like that.
Right.
So me and my friends on Sunday, I think it was Sunday, we're walking around Hillcrest because I'm giving them the grand tour. And I was like, let's just stop by Uncle Biff's. If not, we'll just get some cookies. And so like we walk up to the entrance and I see her and I was like, oh no, she's still here. This is the best thing in my life. And so I scream, I like gay scream walking in the door and she goes, Joe, I thought you like left. And I was like, oh my God. And so she's pregnant and I know.
It's not yours, right?
No. I didn't get the deets. I'm going to go on Saturday because that's before she goes on maternity leave.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that. But I was just so excited to see her.
Oh, good.
Because she's my girl.
All right.
So what about you?
I am only obsessed with one thing right now, and that is Legendary on HBO Max. Season 3 is out. And I am like living.
Is Aja in it?
Aja is in there in the House of LaBeija, and they are not great.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's a spoiler alert. They're not great, and I'm just like, yeah, that because it's like they're iconic. It's like that Pepper LaBeija started that house, and so they have this long history. But it's just like Aja. I'm like, are you gonna jump off a box yet? Like, let's do it. Like, come on, girl. But I love that she's living her authentic life through that. So Kyle, is there anything giving you life right now?
How can I top that?
I mean, I'm sure you've heard that before.
What? Can I top that?
How can I top that? Is that no? Is that just me?
I don't know.
Didn't mean to assume.
I mean, honestly, I'm just really, not to be like self-promotional, but I just have been like really excited for this book that I'm here to talk to you guys about, just because it's been like a long time in the making. So,
all right,
I'm just excited for that, really.
All right, well then let me go.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and introduce it. So our guest today is Kyle Langen. He is a writer, award-winning blogger, an actor, a social media consultant, lifestyle expert, podcast host, and an up-and-coming Empire media mogul.
And if you call now, you'll get 2 for the price of 1 if you pay shipping and handling.
I mean, so let's welcome Kyle to the show, everyone.
Yes, hi.
I know we don't have our studio audience, so we have to clap.
Steve isn't here. He's in Anaheim.
So, Kyle, so you're here to talk about your book, which comes out Friday, June 3rd. So tell us a little bit about this book and who you are, and let all of our listeners know everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for having me. It's so nice to meet you and to talk to you guys today. I mean, yeah, kind of like you said, I guess I'm a jack of all trades in the media world because I have done a lot of stuff like that you mentioned. But most recently, I've been on this author journey. So this will be my third book. And I'm really excited about this one because it's much more niche than the other two I've written. This one is, it's celebrating Pride Month, so it's an LGBTQ like erotic thriller. So it's very salacious, we'll say.
And it's called Confessions of a Callboy, correct?
It's called Confessions of a Callboy, yeah. And it's actually the first book that I wrote. It's called Uncharted Waters, and there's a very minor character in that book that becomes the main character in Confessions of a Callboy. And it's all about just kind of accepting yourself and coming out and kind of what that journey looks like, kind of set in the world of male escorting. So yeah, it's really good. But yeah.
So what made you want to write a story like this?
So there was definitely, I really wanted to write. So I'm from New Jersey originally. And
what part? Where in New Jersey?
I'm from like kind of south, like by like Cherry Hill, West Deptford. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Andy, where are you from?
What exit? Andy wants to know what exit because he's from Jersey.
I'm not like a big turnpike person. Like I don't really know. I think it's like,
is that a sex move? A turnpike? I think I've done that once.
Yeah, but more like south, like kind of like right outside Philadelphia.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Philadelphia, yeah. Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
New Jersey's by Pennsylvania?
Yes. He's not a geography major. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
so
no.
You were saying you wrote this book because you're from New Jersey.
So I moved to LA like 10 years ago. And I really wanted to write a story about moving to a different city and kind of like the reinvention that can happen when you move to a completely different metropolitan area and like the liberties that you can take and kind of restart your life in a way. I write a lot of like coming of age stories. So this kind of is like a coming of age story in its own way about, coming to terms with your sexuality. So I kind of imbued a lot of my cross country move like into the book. And, there are definitely some parallels into everything that I write. So there's some, and in this book too. So I'm really fascinated by sex work in general, just because it's like the oldest profession of like mankind. And now it's become, so there's definitely still a stigma attached to it. But I'm so fascinated by how it's become so democratized with like OnlyFans and everything. And I wanted to kind of, and I wouldn't have the balls to like make an OnlyFans channel. So this is kind of the closest that I'm getting to it. But I kind of set the story in that world. And I have friends that have OnlyFans channels and everything. And so some of their stories I kind of like commandeered and put my twist on and put in the book.
So you haven't been paid for sex before. Is that correct?
Oh, no.
I have.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have. So go ahead. What were you, Kyle? What were you going to say?
I think there's like, I guess like going out to dinner with someone or something like that, kind of like, and they pay for you. I don't know if that is kind of like the
transaction. Then I've had that happen a lot.
No, I've actually had a cash transaction
for the sexual time.
Yes.
Oh, was it good? How much did you make? Like, or did you pay someone?
No, it's 100. Girl, look at me. No,
you were like, it was 10,000 cash in pennies. Make it rain on me. Oh, and then I suffocated.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think I was actually talking to someone about this, and I think that it is, again, there's definitely like a stigma attached to it, but I think that most gay men have either been propositioned or proposed or been involved in it in some way. And I think it's not something that really anyone talks about. And so I think that, one of my big hopes for this book is that it can maybe start a conversation around that, and kind of, not that my book is going to normalize it, for everybody, but
You never know.
well, you never know. But but even just to have conversations like what you just said, you know what I mean? Like, I think that it's, the more people that talk about it, the more kind of, destigmatized it becomes.
And then how much of this book was drawn from your actual experiences, not necessarily the salacious parts, but just in general?
Yeah. So there's situations in the book that have definitely been inspired by situations that I've been in, but I kind of just, exacerbated them. There's this one scene, it's kind of like the one of the only, like, this book is kind of like dark, because it's such like a serious topic, but their one kind of like funny scene is, and again, like, it is very sexually explicit, so I just want to like tell everyone that. But,
are we talking like a throbbing engorged member? Like that? Oh wow!
There's all kinds of engorged,
throbbing engorged member dripping down his shaft.
Yeah.
So that's it. Okay. All right. So you need a bottle of water when you read it.
You kind of like come for the sex and then walk away with kind of like a meaning of like self-love and self-acceptance.
You come for the sex, you walk away with cum. There you go.
It's very salacious.
My boyfriend's out of town. That's why.
But there is the one kind of like funny scene in the book. It's like a scat fetish scene, and that was actually in like a proposition that one of my friends was proposed, like that they wanted to have this happen, or they were going to be paid to like be involved in that. And it's just so, it's definitely like on the fringe. So, and I thought it would be such a funny thing not funny, but I thought it would be an interesting thing to explore. And I kind of put a little bit of my sense of humor on it, because
I told you about my scat experience, right?
No. Was it Scattergories?
No, but like the guy
Scatter Hunt.
The guy wanted me to like lay underneath his glass table so he can poop on top of it.
Oh, you wanted to poop? He wanted to poop on top of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wouldn't mind getting paid to shit on somebody. I'd be fine with that, but it would have to happen in the morning after coffee. So like you'd have to be awake early at like 6 a.m.
So that would also have to be like a good time to have Taco Bell.
Mexican pizza is back, although they're sold out. Well, so have you, like, would you do that? What about you? So would you be paid? How would you feel?
Not necessarily scat, but just
no. I mean shit. Would you poop on someone?
I think that's where I would draw the line, probably. but I definitely have been, asked for situation, to be in situations, and to even like by people that were, sometimes older and not, but and sometimes I'm like, oh wow, like I could have had a really like nice life if I had said yes to that situation. You know what I mean? Like, why?
It's never too late. I think about that every single day. What am I doing with my life?
I think I'm aging out of the that category, maybe, but
oh my god, I'm already aged out.
No, there's a niche for everyone.
I think it's niche. Okay. So when did you start writing this book? Like, when did you have the idea? When did you decide to start putting it to paper?
I had conversations. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who had, paid for escorts in the past, and he was really kind of like secretive about it, but it was kind of divulging it to me. And I thought, wow. And then the title came to me, like, while we were having that conversation, but I didn't tell anybody. And I thought to, just kind of drawing from experience that I've had, that my friends have had, moving to LA, and kind of like, and it all kind of was like a confluence of ideas. So I started to probably, I had it for like probably over a year or two, but I started to really like outline it like, last year, and then,
And your first book came out in like 2015, 2016, correct?
So yeah, so it came out at the beginning of 2016, but it was like I signed a 3-book deal to do these kind of young adult novels, that were set in the Hamptons, and then the publisher declared bankruptcy, so it all kind of like fell apart, which was kind of shitty. And then I had already had these 2 books written, and I thought, well, it's really hard to get books that have already been published by another imprint. Like, it's just kind of like not being done.
Okay.
So because they've already been like promoted and under a different, under like Penguin instead of like Random House, right? So I independently republished them under my own media company, and then and so now I'm kind of starting this kind of and so that this Confessions of a Callboy is also published under my own imprint.
Huh? Is it KJL Media?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How did you develop that, and how'd you get do you have to like get licensing for that, or like how do you do that?
So everything is through, you can kind of publish through Amazon is like my printing partner. So so the books are available exclusively on Amazon at first, and then they can be purchased by Barnes and Noble and all that kind of stuff. Like about a month after they are on Amazon first.
So did you plan to have this done and published and ready to go by Pride Month of this year?
Yeah.
Is that what the plan was? And it was always in your idea to do that? That was your end goal?
So that was the goal, because again, it's so topical, and this is like obviously the prime time to talk about, the LGBT,
sex.
LGBT particularly. And then what I'm really excited about is because I was like, I want to at least kind of give back to this community. I don't want to just like use the month as kind of like buy my book because it's about gay stuff. I wanted to give back, so I partnered with Equality California. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. Yeah, so they're the biggest civil rights advocacy nonprofit in California, and so a portion of every book that's sold is going to them as a donation for the month of June 2020. So I'm really excited to give back too, and it's if people want to make some kind of a donation, buy the book, it's also going to a good cause.
And like, have you worked with Equality California before? Is that why you chose that particular charity, or just? So
I was open. I have friends that are board members there, and I really like the work that they do, and I think especially now with like the Don't Say Gay bill that's happening, and I think to having an organization that protects like civil liberties of LGBT people is really important, especially now. So, yeah, they were a great partner for this.
Very cool.
So I feel like you're personally a little more like demure. Do you think that writing this book was an outlet for your inner like darkness?
It's really funny because I probably have like my like press attitude on right now. That's why I think I'm demure.
Oh, get rid of that right now. You need to get raw and real.
It's the real world.
Well, I don't mind going. Like, I'm really like kind of like nothing is off limits, but I'm much more like happy-go-lucky than in real, like as Kyle in real life than this book would suggest. Like, this book is like very seedy and like dark, and I'm like, where is this stuff coming from? Like, why am I writing about like scat play and glory holes and all the things that are in the book, and I'm like, wow. And I think
why aren't you?
So I think it is. It definitely
Tuesday,
is a great outlet to get all of that kind of stuff out.
Interesting. Are your other books less sexually driven, or like the other two? Are those kind of more
vanilla?
Like, well, I mean, vanilla with peanut butter, maybe.
Yeah. The first one is very much like The Breakfast Club meets Gossip Girl. Okay. And the second one is kind of like that too, but there is an orgy in the second book but it's not as like explicit as this one. It's kind of just like they take like ecstasy and all have sex with each other.
That one's young adult. This one is not young adult.
Wait, he said no. So is the new book for young adult or for adult? No. Is it NC-17?
Right. Yes.
Or is that I don't think that's a rating.
Yeah, this
N
one,
for or M for mature. What's a book rating? Like, how do you rate it?
it's basically, well, it's different in different countries. So I guess Canada, there's like it's like an over 20, I think, is the category for it. But yeah, but I would say this is like a rated R book, to make the film equivalent. But I do think on that note, even though it is like very sexually explicit, I was like reading when I read a lot as a kid, and I was like reading um, like stuff that I shouldn't have been reading when I was like a teenager and like younger. And so I think that even though there is a lot of sexuality in this book, it does like it could be for a younger reader because of the self doubt and the self questioning and the acceptance that the book is really like about. So if you like find it on someone's coffee table, like your 16-year-old nephew or something, like you could
Ooh.
read it.
I'll give it to my
Maybe
nephew.
scandalize.
What about a 4-year-old nephew?
No, that's not a
I
good
don't think
guess.
he can't even read yet. He's
Wait.
fine.
Wait on that one.
I'll come next.
Are there pictures in it?
No, I'm just.
I was like, I'm ordering it right now.
So, how much of that part of it, like the journey to discover yourself and figure out who you are and who you want to be, is taken from your own experience in your life?
That is probably a bit more like semi-autobiographical, just because I came out late. Like I was 24 when I came out, and really didn't really start to question my sexuality until I moved to California. So obviously there's a huge parallel just right there. And the character in the book, Rick is his name, he explores his sexuality through sex work because he's poor, and he just like is hot, and like if men pay him for sex, then he'll do it. And then he kind of starts to think like, oh, like maybe I'm not that resistant to this, maybe I actually am enjoying this, and discovers himself that way. But yeah, I came out like late in the spectrum, in the broad kind of spectrum of things. Like there's people that come out now that are in like middle school, and I think that's such a cool thing to kind of be that self-aware, because that definitely wasn't my story.
So you talk a lot about like the Hamptons, and your stories are based in the Hamptons. Why is that such a pull for you? And then how did that, moving from there to West Hollywood or LA, in like kind of inject into your writing?
Yeah. So I went there a lot when I was a kid with my family. And so it was kind of like a place that I just kind of like romanticized, because it was like, just very tranquil and nice, and like, whatever. I just always liked going there with my family. And they say like to write good, like, or to write well, write what you know. So that was something that I knew a lot about. So I, did that. And then I started, when I moved to LA, I started a lifestyle website called Hamptons to Hollywood, that I still maintain now. And so it all was just very like synergistic in like that branding of me as a writer about like the blog and the books, and so yeah, that's how it all kind of happened. And so yeah, this book is kind of related to those other two, just while not a direct sequel.
I have an important question about the Hamptons. Did you ever see Ina Garten in the Hamptons with her husband Jeffrey?
I mean, no, but she's like my number one person that I like want to meet. She's amazing.
I mean, how bad could that be, right?
So you came out at 24, and then how did people react to you coming out at that age?
It was very like anticlimactic. Like people were like, "Oh, okay, like that's fine."
I mean, did
like,
they know? Did they know?
I asked that, and my parents didn't my parents are artists too, like they're like fine artists, but like they, I grew up going to like galleries and museums and all this stuff, so they don't really like care. They didn't really care. I was like, putting so much, I was so scared to do it, and scared to accept myself, and scared to tell other people, and the whole thing, as you guys probably know. So but it was just very, and I feel very lucky. I always like to say that I feel very lucky in that was my situation, because there's people that are kicked out of their house and disowned and have very personal stories. So I got off kind of easy.
So, I'm going to ask you LA questions because I used to live near downtown. What part of LA are you currently living in?
So I just bought a place in Sherman Oaks. So I just moved here in April. Yeah.
Oh,
So
are
it's
you close to
very.
Crave?
I don't know where anything is.
Are you off of Ventura Avenue? Like, are you off?
I'm off.
Why are you trying to get to his place?
No, I'm trying to get a vibe of where he lives because it's like everyone that moves to Los Angeles who's gay lives in West Hollywood. They do the scene, they live their life, and then it's like, oh my god! So I want to know where he
And then we moved
lives.
to the valley, basically. I live off Coldwater and like Burbank.
Another. You don't need to give your cross streets because that would definitely. Well, when you're in Sherman Oaks, you have to go to this restaurant. I don't know if it's still there, but it's called Crave, and they have the most like random food items, basically anything that you can crave. And so like you can get like dessert, Mexican food, like a breakfast, like you can get anything that you want. And like,
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good restaurant. And so then you moved from where to Sherman Oaks?
I lived in West Hollywood.
There it is. Did you move directly to West Hollywood from New Jersey?
No, I moved to Glendale, which is like I put that in the book because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I had no idea of the geography of LA. I moved to Glendale and I was living with 3 other people. One of the people was like in his 60s, and then the other 3 of us were like in our like early 20s, so it was kind of weird. And then I moved to Long Beach.
Oh.
And then I moved to Marina Del Rey, and then I moved to West Hollywood.
She's hopped all over. Where in Glendale? Were you by the Galleria?
I was.
Or the Brand? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you eat at did you go to Rocky's or Porto's? I'm telling you, I wanted to know where you've been.
I have yet to go to Rafi's, but I hear amazing things, and I have.
Yeah.
I've been to Porto's, of course.
Okay. Those are my LA questions.
I wanted to when I was up in LA and for DragCon, I wanted to go to Porto's, but I was just like the line was so long.
Oh, is there one over near
crazy.
Convention Center?
No, I was gonna drive up to it, but
oh my god! And I will tell you that like Porto's is like it's great, but like it's not worth the wait. The like everyone's like, oh my god, this like preserve. I was like, it's not good. Whatever the fruit thingy, the tart or something that everyone wants. Like what's the sweet stuff? What does everyone like? That like raspberry something? I don't know. Don't go to Porto's. If you like Porto's, then good for you. But get the potato balls because that's real good.
So I'm thinking that you meant to move out to LA because you wanted to be an actor, and right?
So I have acted and I always like it and would entertain that again. But I went to school for journalism, so I kind of moved to LA to kind of pursue entertainment journalism.
Oh, well, so is there anything we would have seen you in?
No.
Well, he has 2 credits
on IMDb.
I looked this up.
Is it Eating Out 1?
No,
and Eating Out 2.
No. It's one of it was called The Undertaker's Son. And you played the lead.
Oh.
And then also he has a short documentary called A Day in the Life of a Drag Queen. And like that's a friend of yours named Butter, right?
Yeah. So I made that I was just playing myself. Like I like being like, it wasn't really it's a documentary. So I was just being like my self-titled. I did a lot of I've worked in journalism for years. I was like basically interviewing Butter, this drag queen, and it was this was in 2018, so it was kind of before. It wasn't before. Like Drag Race was still obviously a thing, but it was kind of like it hadn't hit like the peak that it kind of is like at the crescendo of now, So it was still. So we did we just walked around when we followed her around, I should say, performing and like he put me in drag, and it was fun.
I need to see pictures of this. What was your drag name?
He named me Martha Vineyard.
Oh, because of Hamptons?
So I was talking to my mom about Martha's Vineyard, and I was like, oh, like, surely there's a vineyard there. There's no vineyard.
Yeah.
Why is it called Martha's Vineyard?
What? I think it just sounds pretty.
It's false advertising. I'm taking them to court. We're doing legislation or something. Litigation.
Legislation. Litigation. Okay.
I'm a lawyer. It's fine.
So you were homecoming king in high school.
Oh yeah, how did you know that?
Oh, don't worry about it, girl.
She does her research.
I do researches.
She also knows your social, your date of birth, your latest credit card number, and your passport ID.
So, were you popular in high school? Like,
yeah,
I guess you must have been.
I was good. I did a lot of stuff. Like I played sports, but I also was in like the play, and I was like the treasurer of the class. So I was like the annoying person that was just like doing everything. So I had a lot of different friends in different, social groups.
What sports did you play?
I swam, and I played lacrosse, and I ran cross country.
Oh damn!
I know, right?
She was busy.
I know, I can't run anymore.
Move cross country.
Oh yeah, you moved cross country.
See, all about cross country.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you single now, or are you in a relationship?
I'm in a relationship, which has been really nice, and I've been together. We've been together about 7 months now, so just under a year.
How did you meet?
We met on a dating app.
Oh, that's okay. I met my husband on a dating app like 10 years ago almost, so it's all good.
There's nothing wrong with the 21st century dating at all.
No, it's great, and I think it's kind of like how people have to do it now, unless you, after COVID, like people weren't, I was just telling my friend today that like I think that we've like socially regressed as like a culture. Like I used to love like seeing people and going out and all this stuff, and now I almost have like a bit of social anxiety sometimes, which was not the case like before COVID. So it's all about getting back out there.
Well, see, we didn't like people before COVID, and we still don't like people.
Okay.
So we're pretty consistent. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I don't like you, still don't like you.
I wanted people to say 6 feet away. I still want you to say 6 feet away.
I know, this is very uncomfortable for us being 2 feet.
And I like him.
Can you imagine the people that you don't like?
So now you also have your website, kjlmedia.com, that you help with like social media and consulting and stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, it can be kind of like, it's probably confusing, but KJL Media is kind of like the umbrella company. So there's like a social media consulting branch. So I have a small team, and we manage, different clients' social media accounts and create content for them. And then there's the publishing branch, where all the books are, I write all the books under. And then there's the kind of digital media, which is like everything Hamptons to Hollywood related. So like any kind of, influencer things or like restaurant reviews, anything like that is under there.
So social media consulting, because I always get confused by that, because I see a lot of people out there that do this. Like, so what does that really entail, like on a day-to-day? Like, I think you said you manage accounts and you post content. Like, is there other stuff that you do, or like, what does it all kind of entail?
Yeah, it's basically just the day-to-day kind of managing of different clients' accounts. So like I have like a real estate agents that I work with, and I'll go to like open houses for them and record them, direct them, creating content around like a listing, or, I have a medical spa. So like I'll go in and like film like Botox procedures and stuff like that. And then create the content out of those videos to post on social media to like, brand them and get them more business.
Interesting.
And you have your own podcast. Is that correct?
I do. Yeah. It's the Hamptons to Hollywood podcast. Very unoriginal, probably the name. But yeah, I still love, like, I mean, if I could have like one job in the world, it would be like a talk show host, I think, just because I'm so curious and interested in like the psychology of people and what makes them make the choices they do, and just having like conversations. So that's what I get to do on the podcast. I've talked to some like Oscar winners, which has been really cool, and like a Real Housewife, and
Al?
Yeah. Which Oscar winners and which housewife?
So I talked to the Oscar winner was a writer. He wrote the script for Black Klansman, because in that
I
were
don't
on
know
the
any
best.
writers. So. Well, I know you
Well,
now.
you know him now.
Yeah. I know one writer, and
Yeah.
it's you.
But and then I just talked to Sutton Strack recently from Beverly Hills Housewives.
Oh God, which one is she?
She's the southern one. She's newer.
I don't remember.
Well,
I don't know if I haven't seen Beverly Hills lately. I've been stuck on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So
Oh yeah.
oh, and you interviewed Jeremy Piven.
And Jeremy Piven, yeah.
who's that?
He was in Entourage, and like he was big in like the late 90s, early 2000s for
I didn't
movies.
see Entourage.
And I actually used to have a crush on him.
He
'Cause I
was like the thing in like the early 2000s for sure.
Yeah.
Jeremy Piven.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, hello.
He's won like 3 Emmys or something. He was
Yeah, for Entourage.
This guy?
Yeah.
No shit.
He was in Serendipity. Remember Serendipity?
Yes.
Was he in Big Fat Liar? No, he
No.
played like a bad guy in a
That was
movie.
Giamatti.
So what does you building this brand, what does it represent about you, and what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I never wanted to or I didn't enjoy working in like an office, like just kind of for somebody else. And so I was always, and I like graduated college in 2010. So it was the like Great Recession like era. So like no one was hiring, like especially writers, like no, like they're like, get out of here. So from like my whole like professional like life, I was always like hustling to like write, like pitch an article to the New York Times or, start a blog or whatever. Right. So I think that just kind of came with me, and I can't really now it's like ingrained in me. I can't really give that up. So I love having control over like how much money I make if I don't want to take a client or if I don't want to write a book or, whatever. Like I love having the kind of creative and of control over my work. So I just hope to grow it, to grow each of those 3 branches, the social media branch, the publishing, and Hamptons to Hollywood, just even more, in the next few years. And yeah, just keep doing it, because I think it allows me to do so much,
And who likes to work for other people? Corporate America sucks.
Yeah.
I speak from experience. I mean, yeah. I'm curious about your involvement. So you say Equality California. What other kind of activism are you doing, given your social media presence and kind of the influence that you do have?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of like volunteer, like I used to teach teach classes on social media to the city of West Hollywood, and because people would come in who couldn't really afford or didn't understand about social media, so I would teach classes for free. And yeah, I still have hopes about maybe going volunteering at a soup kitchen or something in downtown LA, at the holidays. That sounds like something that's so, I don't know, just so nice and such a nice thing to kind of give back, because I do think that when you have a bit of, you've established yourself in some way, even if you haven't, it's still always just nice. Nothing makes you feel better than giving something to others, and especially if it's something so basic as food or anything like that. So I still definitely would like to do more, but I think that working with this organization for this month is a good start.
Well, you said that your book too, you're hoping to kind of give that freedom to folks that read it, and that
yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
I think,
Yeah.
and that's kind of, it's not a direct way of giving back in terms of volunteering in a soup kitchen or whatever, but I hope that the stories that I create, even if it's just a reel on social media or about something meaningful, right, that it can maybe change someone's perspective or change someone's view on something and make them feel a little bit more seen or heard or understood. I like to do that through my storytelling in all the ways that I do it. So yeah, I'm always trying to do that every day.
So now, do you have plans for another book yet, or were you thinking about doing another, a story in a different genre, or staying in this one, or?
So I do, like I said, I signed that 3-book deal back when I first did my publishing contract. So I already have the idea for the 3rd Uncharted Waters book, the Uncharted book. So I'll put that one out probably next year or something. And then, you know, I think like having like a brand as a writer is really important. Like you think about like Dan, or what's his name?
Dan Brown.
Yeah, Dan Brown, but there's someone else too.
Or Stephen K. Rowling.
No,
like,
you don't want that brand.
Like Dan Brown.
I don't know many authors.
Like Dan Brown writes like, you know, historical kind of like thrillers. Stephen King writes horror. Like, so you kind of really have to like stick to like one niche. So, so mine are just kind of about like coming of age stories. So I would like to do that, and I still, you know, I would like to write like a memoir, you know, about like about moving to LA, like maybe calling like having a Hamptons to Hollywood book, or I studied abroad in Australia when I was in college, and it was like probably the best time of my life. For so many different reasons. And so I'd like to write about that, you know, so maybe kind of like do something like really about me in the first person. Yeah. So I always have like crazy ideas for books. So it's just all about, you know, doing it.
Well, and would any of your current relationship stories make it into a future book?
Actually, that's another one. I was in like a kind of a very unhealthy relationship for like, I don't know, maybe like 7 years or something, like a long time.
Oh, okay, that's a while.
Yeah. And I think that that's something, not that people are in relationships for that long or unhealthy relationships for that long, but I think that an unhealthy relationship is such a universal thing that everyone kind of has tasted in a way. And I really, really want to write a book about that. And now that like my ex, we're like very good friends now, like we've really moved past it. But I want to bring kind of like I would like to tell a story about that, because it's so relatable, you know?
It's time to put the pen to paper. Oh my God, we're giving you all the ideas. We'll take 50% of the commission and the cut. Thank you. It's recorded, so I mean, there is objective evidence that will survive in a court of law.
So, if your new book, Confessions of a Cowboy, was made into a movie, who would be
and then I have a follow-up question.
Lead actors?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
That would be great. I'm too old for the part, though.
Do not you dare. Don't you insult Mr. Gyllenhaal in that way.
It's just purely from a casting perspective. Because the character is like 23. He turns 24 like in the book. So actually the cover, I did an Instagram live with the cover model of my book.
Yeah, I saw that. And
yeah.
He is hot. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very attractive. So I, you know, he's kind of like, I have never seen him act, so I don't know. But I guess like in terms of a full-fledged like celebrity, I don't know. I would have to, someone like a little bit like, kind of Jake Gyllenhaal would be a great choice if he were a little bit younger.
Well, then maybe you should write another book where he can fit the role.
Okay.
I think that's probably your next one. Or you could have a flash forward book about the guy who's the main character in the current book and his life after whatever the book's, you know, finale is, and then Jake can, you know, swing on in and go from there.
That's true.
Is there going to be an audiobook was my question.
There is.
Did you record it?
Yeah, I do the audiobooks. So it's very you know, you really have to, like, it's extremely sexually explicit. So it's just so funny to record, you know, these scenes where there's like, you know, cum involved and all this stuff, right? So it's just very funny. But yeah, there will be, and it'll probably be out in like a month.
Did you do all the voices too, like different voices when you were doing that?
No, don't do that. I actually, so the first audiobook I did, like one of the characters had a British accent.
Oh no.
Oh my God, do your British accent. We want to hear your British accent.
Well, if you buy the audiobook, you can hear like I like really half-assed it, and then I didn't do any voices for the rest of the book.
Everybody else was American, just that one
I
character was
mean,
British.
I have follow-up questions on how you got into the role for your audiobook. Like, what kind of things were you doing behind the microphone?
Oh. Well, I like know the story like so well, but actually like when I was writing it, I was like, "Oh my God, maybe I should like watch like porn or something to like really like put me in like the place of like you're getting into the headspace of the content of the book." Um but yeah, cuz you know, there's sometimes I'm just like I do not feel like attractive or like sexy right now. How am I going to write this like glory hole scene or whatever? But
Fake it till you
uh,
make it. There you go.
yeah, yeah.
So now, will your next book be like Confessions of a Porn Star? So your character then gets into porn?
Jake, yeah.
I think I'm going to. Well, I will. See, I'm curious to see because again, this is a bit of a departure in terms of like than anything I've done before. So I'm curious to see how this one sells. And
Okay.
if it does well, then like I would totally be open to. I haven't really thought about what that would look like yet, but I've also wanted to do maybe kind of like if it does sell like an anthology of like short stories of gay erotica also.
And then outside of the wanting to discover who you are and everything with the character in your book, how else will the reader relate to this character? And will they even like this character or not?
So that's actually a really funny question because someone reached out to me on TikTok and he was like, I ordered the book, I read it, you know, he was like, I read it in a day, which was great. Like that's kind of like the intent. Like you can like finish it on like an airplane, like to New York or something.
Oh my God.
He was like, I like couldn't put it down, but I didn't love the main character. And I don't take that as a criticism at all because I don't always agree with like that that people should love the main character of a movie or a book or anything. I think it's kind of like um, inauthentic. Do you know what I mean? Because we don't like you guys. You just said you don't like a lot of people. Like there's a lot of people that as people like we don't like, and so I really want to kind of normalize like writing about like prickly characters because even if you don't like them, he's still like you can still see yourself in that, and I think that maybe is like triggering for people and everything. So I like writing about characters who are a little bit not just like the hero, you know what I mean,
Rough around the edges.
that are more real and more authentic.
Well, also people will their own experiences inform how they're going to take the book and how they're going to respond to it, and that is totally valid because that is their experience with that,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. So I don't ever like take any. I'm so always interested in feedback. Even if people don't like it, I'm interested to hear why they did or they didn't um, because yeah, it's so subjective. Like art is so subjective, so it's not really. I don't take it personally or anything.
Well, I mean, I'm going to give feedback because we loved having you here, and
Feedback by Janet Jackson.
Oh, I do love that song. Feedback.
Give it. Okay,
I love that.
Yeah,
but
it is Pride Month.
But so everybody can go out on Amazon and purchase Confessions of a Cowboy starting June 3rd.
Yep.
And then what are your socials and how can they find out about you and find you and learn about you?
Well,
and,
we know he lives on the corner of whatever.
And then he was a homecoming king. But there's more to you than that.
And he's going to be frequenting Crave and Sherman Oaks.
That's right.
You need to go today. Yeah. I don't care what you're doing later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's dinner time. You can do it. Yeah, come on.
On social, on Instagram, I'm on everything. I'm Kyle J Langan, so Langan, and then I have an Instagram just for my my writing. Just it's Kyle J Langan Writes at the end. So either one.
What is he writing? Oh,
so what about? And is that the same on like TikTok and Twitter?
Yeah,
and Facebook
and Truth or whatever. What's Trump's?
No, he's not on Truth.
Oh my God! Can you please get a Truth? This is how you need to do investigative journalism. There you go. You have to go undercover. I think you have to pay. For your next book, you're gonna have an ex-Trump supporting gay porn star that Jake Gyllenhaal will play.
Oh my god, I bet he would be interested in that role. It's very
He
layered.
told me just now. What was that? Oh yeah, he said yes.
I mean, I don't know why you're not writing this stuff down. We are giving you gold here.
Yeah. The gold rush might have been in whatever year it was, but it's also now.
All right. So before we go, we have 3 quick fire questions for you, and we'll answer with our own stuff too. But
crap, we have to answer.
You have to be first, right off the top of your head, no thinking about it or anything. All right.
Okay.
So the first one is, what is your most played song so far this year?
I was very obsessed with the Lil Nas X soundtrack last year, so that's the only thing I can think of right now.
Soundtrack? What soundtrack?
His album.
Oh.
Like the album.
I was like, what? He was in a movie?
Yeah,
Country Road soundtrack to like, what movie would that be?
Yeah.
So what about you, Joe? What's your
Rain on Me?
Oh God, still?
It is still number 1. It holds true 2 years later.
Okay.
And I've yet to hear it in the club. Because I don't go.
Yeah, exactly. Mine is Decide to Be Happy by Mr. Wives.
Okay.
Oh, I like Mr. Wives. I like Mr. Wives. They're a good band.
They're a cool band, and if you like them, you might also like there's a group called Surfaces.
Okay.
They do this
really
very
like that
cool
music.
Yeah, it's like very cool like brunch kind of island vibe kind of sounds.
Like tropical house.
If you like that, you should check out my Spotify playlist called Is a Vibe. Just letting you know.
I will.
He's got good music taste.
All right. What would be your sashay away tagline on Drag Race?
Oh my god.
I don't know this.
I have no idea. I don't know what to say.
I feel like that's a hard one to go. What's yours?
Mine is, well, shit.
Okay.
That's good.
I don't know what mine would be. I don't think I'd have. I don't know. I wouldn't have one because I would win.
Oh, okay.
That's a good answer.
Thank you. Okay, Family Feud. Good answer. Good answer.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's thinking.
Oh, he's thinking.
No.
I said,
oh, okay.
Oh, I was like the hamster wheel's turning.
All right. So last one. What fried food best describes you?
Oh my god, that's a great question.
Oh, damn it.
I think I think fried chicken is kind of like one of my favorite foods of all time. Like it's even when it's like not that great, it's still like okay. You know, it's like never terrible. So I don't know, maybe fried chicken.
And that describes you, even if it's bad, it's just okay. It's never terrible.
Yeah. That didn't really
Hey, you know what? This is a safe space. You're good. I mean, hey, shoot low, aim high. I don't know.
Under promise, over deliver.
There you go.
Or
Even
no,
if
I'll say
it's so good.
I'll say because I don't know. That was a dumb answer. I'm
okay.
So
you dug your grave, and that's fine. You dug your grave of grease. It's good.
What about you, Joe?
I am a donut because you can't just have one.
Oh, and you got a big ass hole.
Yeah. Huge hole. And it's crusty.
I think mine is deep fried butter.
What?
Because I'm delicious, but I will burn the roof of your mouth.
And you'll clog your arteries.
Exactly.
No, I will burn the roof of your mouth, and then it will kill you.
Exactly.
And Paula Deen loves you.
There you go. So, and just so you know, Lil Nas X could probably do the soundtrack for your movie when they make your book into a movie.
So
you know?
I do. So if you love Spotify soundtracks, I do for every book that I do a corresponding soundtrack. That's why I said soundtrack because it was like on my brain. And I did take one of his songs from that album and put it on my soundtrack. So
should they read the book while listening to the music?
If you can concentrate on reading,
I was just gonna say, how do you do that?
I can't.
That's hard.
But you could. I do like. I think it's like a good idea to listen to the soundtrack first, and then kind of like get into the vibe of the book, and then read it.
Is the soundtrack readily available on Spotify right now?
It is. It's available right now on Spotify.
Oh, what's it called? Oh, jinx.
Confessions of a Callboy.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Any explicit Do I need to have parental guidance to listen to some of the music?
No, it's all, the book is the only explicit part. The music's pretty fun.
Oh, you mean there is no WAP?
No. Oh, I should say that there isn't. All the artists on the soundtrack are all LGBTQIA. So, so there's no like. So Cardi B could not.
You got Cupcake on there?
No.
Oh, RuPaul.
Maybe I should have checked the few before I made it.
Yeah, maybe if you. Do you have RuPaul?
No, I don't have RuPaul.
No RuPaul.
Well, because it also needs to be like moody enough for the book. Do you know what I mean? Like RuPaul,
which song by Demi Lovato do you have on there? Cool for the Summer. Dancing with the Devil, is that a new one?
No, I think that's on the last one.
But it's kind of like heavy, you know.
Yeah. See, now I'm a media consultant, so now you have to hire me. Cause
yeah, this advice isn't free. You'll get a bill.
I'll be your curating Spotify playlists.
Great.
And I'm your idea person and your direct link to Jake Gyllenhaal.
Guys, we're a great team.
There you go.
Someone told me I had a salesperson voice. I forgot to tell you that. Like, I'm selling my car, and a woman was like, "Oh, just give me a call." And I was like, "Hi, this is Joe with the Kia Forte." She's like, "Are you a salesman?" I was like, "Girl, no. I'm a compliance manager for a biotech company."
Somebody told me I have a nice voice for radio, and I'm like,
"You
do? Are you trying to tell me I'm ugly?"
Wait, is that a diss?
Because I have a face for radio, but like
they said that?
No, she said I have a voice for radio.
Yeah, we're on a podcast. Of course, you have a voice for radio.
Well,
that's right, everybody.
Well, I just want to thank Kyle for being on our podcast.
Us.
We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Your busy schedule to be here with us and moving too. Like, that's a lot, you know?
I thought he already moved. Or are you in the process of moving?
Well, I mean,
I just ordered my last piece of furniture, so it should arrive in a couple
living spaces, Jerome's.
I mean, he's not a lesbian, so he has to.
Oh, I am.
He has to order his furniture. He can't just make it.
Oh, is that I guess that's what the regular folks do.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, Kyle, and thank you, Joe, and everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you, guys.
Special thanks to Andrew Smith and Nick Stone for producing the show. If you like us, please follow us at tugayspod on Instagram and visit us online at tugayspod.com. You can find us anywhere you can stream podcasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know topics you'd like to hear. And always remember, stay safe, stay classy, stay sassy, and always stay a little bit trashy. See you next week.